Hey friends, it's Laura with Laura B. Flosstube. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. So this is Flosstube number 63. It is August 6th, 2024. I'm coming to you from the beautiful Columbia, Missouri, and we are going to hear about what I've been doing in my cross-stitching and quilting life in the past 2 weeks. First up is cross stitch, and I've really kind of been focusing on like one stitch for a while, and then I'll switch to something else for a while so I can see some progress made on that stitch before I move on, instead of switching back and forth on like each day or when the wind blows a certain way or whatever. I want to share my progress on the houses on Pumpkin Lane, which is Pansy Patch, Quilts, and Stitchery, and I've been working on house number 3, which is the Maple House. Let me grab that chart. All right, so here's the cover photo for the Maple House. This is the third house for the houses on Pumpkin Lane. This has so far been pretty easy to stitch. So let me show you my progress. I've made some pretty good progress on this, honestly. I am stitching this on a 28 count Lugana, and I am not using the called for DMC. I just basically went through my stash and found similar colors. And so I'm doing kind of my own thing with the floss colors. But this is what I have done so far for the Maple House, which is again on the Houses on Pumpkin Lane by Pansy Patch, Quilts, and Stitchery. So as you can see, I have that top border done. I have one of the little squirrels almost done. He needs an eyeball still. And I started outlining the roof on the house and then the windows on the house. So obviously a lot left to go on this stitch. Let's compare. All right, a lot left to go on this stitch, but definitely some progress has been made. And I would like to try to finish this one in August, but you know what, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm just gonna go with what I can get done. Now, when I look at this chart, I'm not gonna be doing this bottom row of leaves. I'm only doing the house and the basket and that little tree looking thing right there, and of course the name. All right, next up, progress has been made on my cabinet of curiosities. This is a free, well, this was a free stitch along put out by Stitchonomy in 2022. It was their free Halloween stitch along, and I am doing this on a 14 count hand dyed Aida cloth, and I am not using the called for colors again. I basically just went through my stash and grabbed colors that were similar. I would really like to have the first 10 days done before the end of August, and so far I have 6. So that's pretty good since it's August 6th. I have 6 of them done. They're pretty quick little stitches, so except for the back stitch, it's pretty easy and pretty quick to do. I think these boxes are like 20 by 20, so it's not a ton of stitching, but still it can be a lot if you start adding in back stitching and other things like that. And plus, you know, the numerous color changes. So again, this is Cabinet of Curiosities. It's by Stitchonomy. They, I believe their signups for this year's free Halloween stitch along is going on now. I'll put a link in the description box below so you can go sign up for that if you're interested. All right, so I do have 2 things on the list for August that I have not started. One of them is the Holt Stitch Cards U set. They're a bunch of like little stars. I showed that in the last Flosstube if you're interested, or just Google Holt Stitch Cards set U and you'll see them. They are super cute. I do want to get those kitted up for August. I would love to be able to get one of them finished, but it's not like a top priority. This is going to be like a quick, easy stitch. So I just want to get them done when I can, basically. The other thing that I have slated for August to start is the 1996 Prairie Schooler Santa, and I'm super excited to get that done. I do have kind of a goal to get 6 Santas done for the year. I think I've done 2, so I'm definitely behind. But you know, again, if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. I'm just going to do what I can when I can. So the last thing I have to share for cross stitch is the Colorado Cross Stitcher Signpost Stitcher. I started this last month. So I started this in July, and it was a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna be, and it was such a big stitch. After I started looking at it, it was actually 14.5 by 8. I did the big one, not the little one. But like I said, I started that in July, and I have some major progress because I actually finished it. So I'm so happy that this is finished. It is so super cute. I can't wait to get it framed. I think this makes like 4 or 5 different things I have finished that need to be framed. I definitely need to set some time aside to just like press and measure and all that good stuff so I can order some frames for these things and get them on the wall. But for right now, I know that this stitch is done. So let me just give you a little close up here. of the different elements of the Signpost stitcher. This, like I said, it looks huge, but it was actually really quick. And I think it's just because the word stitcher is so large and there's not that much going on in there except for the little tomato and the little scissors. Now I did add in the C, I added my initials and the year just because I thought that would be a good way to just kind of show that I'm the one that stitched it and just make a little customization for the piece. All right, so that is all I have for cross stitch, and I understand that that's not like a ton, but it is enough. It's definitely kept me busy to stitch several evenings each week, and that's been very relaxing and therapeutic. So that's always welcome in my world because I typically am very busy, and so anytime I have a chance to just sit and stitch, it definitely centers and relaxes me. All right, let's talk quilting because we have a couple things coming up in the quilting world that's super excited. First of all, Fat Quarter Shop announced they're going to be doing the Hometown Holiday Sampler Quilt and Stitch Along. I haven't decided for certain if I'm going to try to do those because I have a couple of the quilts on my agenda as well. Those are starting in September, so if you're interested, make sure you check those out. I do have the patterns for both the cross stitch and the quilt, so I know they'll be making them at some point in time. I just don't know if I'm going to make them at the same time Fat Quarter Shop is. I might just kind of like schedule that in on my own at some point. The other thing that's coming up, which I am going to be doing, is Lori Holt's Let's Build a Snowman. That starts August 26th. You'll be able to follow along on her blog, and actually the Be Prepared post posted yesterday. So go out to her blog and look to see what supplies and everything that you need to build a snowman with Lori Holt. So that'll be super fun, and I'm excited about that. Sew along because the quilt is super cute. In addition to that quilt along, I also have the Lori Holt Be Happy quilt sew along going on right here on my YouTube channel. Those videos are posting every Thursday and will through the middle of November, I believe. So I have a schedule and all of that out there. Just search the channel for the playlist and you'll see a playlist and the schedule and all of that good stuff. I'm posting a video, like I said, each week to get our blocks done. I know several of you have had kits that you've been hoarding or saving for the perfect time since 2017, and several of you have said that you're like halfway through, but you're excited to be able to follow along and get it all the way completed. So be sure you tag me on social media. I would love to see your progress for that. You can find me on Instagram at Laura B. Flosstube, and then you can also just leave a comment down below in the description box on any of the videos for those weeks that you're making the quilt. In addition to the two Lori Holt applique quilts, I am taking on another quilt that I'm doing for a friend, and I'm going to show you the fabrics. Her favorite color is purple, so these are like perfect. This is a Robert Kaufman, and this is, let's see, this is by Jason Yenter for In the Beginning Fabrics. They're both really cute fabrics. They have some spirals and circles going on, and if you remember the gray and white Oberlin Star quilt that I made for my aunt, that's the same pattern I'm going to use for this one. Few reasons. I really love the simplicity of that quilt, and it was a pretty quick sew. So yeah, I'm going to be cutting these fabrics to pieces and getting that started hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so. So between cross stitch and quilting, I've definitely been busy. I do still have that French cuff shirt cut out for my husband that I need to get sewn up, and I do still have that skirt pattern for myself that I need to get sewn up as well, which means I need to get the fabric cut too. So I typically put those things off for a little while, and then I'm like, oh wait, I have a day, let's just sew. And usually if I have a solid day, that's when I want to do apparel sewing because I'm not as familiar with that. It just takes me a little while longer to kind of get in the groove of that. So it helps if I have several hours to block out to focus on my apparel sewing. Let's talk about the upcoming videos on my channel because I think you might be interested. I'm going to be continuing a series on the vintage linens and quilts, and okay, we're gonna have a love-hate relationship going on, I'm pretty sure, because I know that some of you are gonna love me and some of you are gonna hate me, and that's fine, I completely understand. I'm hoping that your comments will still be nice. But if you remember that pink quilt that I showed off in the What to Do with This Stuff video, then you'll remember that I'm gonna be making several projects out of that pink vintage quilt. And Spoiler alert, it has been cut up and it has been divvied out and the projects are in piles, and as I can, I'm recording videos for that series just to add on to the Vintage Linens and Quilts series of things that you can do with those quilts that just really aren't good enough for a quilt anymore. In addition to that, I do have a couple other videos coming up that I think that you might be interested in. I have a couple gift ideas and a few other little fun things that are coming up, and I really do hope that you tune in for all of that. So this is a very quick update on my crafty world, but that's really all I have to share today. So I'm just going to wrap it up and say I hope you're finding joy in all that you do. I hope you're carving out time for crafting and creating, and until next time, happy stitching.